Welcome, guys. Have you ever had experience with a narcissist before? I know I have, and I'm thankful for it now. You know, hindsight is 20/20 always, right? But when I was in it, before I, came to my understanding of that's what I was dealing with, it was hell. But before the hell, again, it started off as pure bliss, or at least what I imagined pure bliss to be, or at least at the time what I imagined pure bliss to be. And it was because when I met the person, I felt like immediately this soul connection. I felt as though they were the person for me, and it was undeniable. Like they share the same interests as me, or at least they make you think that they share the same interests as you. And you just feel like, again, a complete match to this person. But what's really going on, though, and what I found out was that they mirror the best aspects of yourself, And I think that's just to try to reel you in. But I will say, when I was in a relationship with a narcissist, again, I didn't know it was a narcissist when I was in it. It took me a minute. When you're in it in the beginning, those feelings of love and feeling of connection are super strong. I know I talked the last video about puppy love and all that stuff, but it's beyond that even, because it feels like this person is your soulmate, and that everything they do is just, again, mirroring what's good about you, mirroring all your greatness and all your potential. And you see that in them. And so at first in the relationship, it was super good. I mean, the sex was incredible. I gotta say that, off the bat. We're all adults here. It was incredible. It was unlike anything I've had before in my life. And I think it was the same for her as well. But I quickly started to realize when I would need emotional support on certain things, I would not get that at all. And when I would question these things, when I'd bring these things up to her and let her know that there's some things bothering me about the way she reacts and how she treats me, as far as me needing just, sheer human support, emotional support. I'm not asking for nothing crazy. I'm just asking for you to have a little emotional wherewithal, because I don't feel this from you. And that was a big red flag. And so you can imagine when I brought this up to her, she flipped out on me. She called me, she would always, and then from there on, she would call me just overly sensitive. And being called overly sensitive was like a jab, like a big jab, because, growing up, I was labeled overly sensitive as well. And that's not something you want to hear, because that's just who I am. And, it's just as a person, that's who I can't be any different. That's just who I'm genuinely portraying. Like, that's who I genuinely am at heart. I can't fake this, it's just who I am. And I'm not being some people are just, they're whiny babies and they cry about all certain things, about, every little thing that happens to them. And it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that for me. It's just when I need emotional support from my partner, who I love, and I would do anything for, and I would absolutely give her all the emotional support she would need, I would not get that in return. I wasn't getting it. And in relationships, that was an important part for me, because, again, I had got neglected from all that stuff when I was growing up, and it was popping up again in my adult life, but from a partner who I thought was my quote unquote soulmate, And yeah, man, when you're in a relationship with these type of people, it could do one or two things. It can make you feel like you're going through hell, because once you realize what this person is, they just further show you who they are, and you realize, and a lot of times I've heard people get stuck in these relationships because they don't know how to leave them. And again, they have this idea of they're my soulmate, so I'm going to put up with all this negative bullshit that they're throwing at me. I'm going to put up with it because I love them so much. And in my case, I loved her, if I think about it still, I still love the best parts of her, but again, that's parts of myself. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but again, with these type of relationship narcissists, and I do consider myself an empath. Oh, and that, by the way, when I brought up to her that at the end of it, when I was bringing up to her that I believe I'm an empath, because I was learning about myself more through this relationship, and that was by the grace of God, and I'm so thankful and grateful for that. But when I told her that I'm an empath, and I think that she might be a narcissist, she totally threw the empath thing in my face and just kind of like buried it and talked about how I wasn't an empath, how I was just, I don't remember what exactly she told me, but she basically just pushed it to the side and said, no, you're not, you can never be an empath. You're just over exaggerating this whole thing. Like, you're not that, you're this, you know what I'm saying? Like, basically telling me what I am. Like, I don't know who I am, And I mean, when I first met her, I didn't fully know who I was. And thankfully, because of her, I now am on the path to knowing who I am. And so again, you can either get stuck in these relationships with these narcissists or these narcissistic tendency type of people, because when they're not showing those narcissistic traits, the love that you feel with that is super potent. And I've looked into twin flames and all that kind of stuff too, and I truly believe that she might have been that for me. You've both gone through intense trauma since at a young age, but the empath side has dealt with it a certain way, and then the narcissist deals with it a whole different way. It's like, goes back to polarity. It's two opposites of the same pole. And where I was at, I was more on the side of empathy and compassion and empowerment through my relationship as a kid with dealing with the toxic environment. Whereas her, she kind of just went through the whole disassociation phase. And you can't blame her, because once you realize what she's going through, because you've gone through it too, and she just didn't know how to deal with it. And the only way she could deal with it is becoming a narcissist, unfortunately, because somebody in her life was a narcissist. And I've had somebody in my life that has narcissistic tendencies. I don't think necessarily they're a complete narcissist, but yeah, we both went through the same exact thing. But the thing is too, like I was saying, I kind of went off track, but either you stay with somebody like that because you're afraid to leave, and you're afraid that you're leaving your twin flame, your soulmate, the person that you're supposed to be with in this life, and you truly believe that without a shadow of a doubt. I know I did for a long time. Like I said, right when I met her, it was like magic, it was like magic personified, but, or when they show their true colors to you, again, it's them mirroring back to you the shadows that are in you as well. And you begin to question who you are. I know that's what happened to me. Because I was so empathetic and compassionate, and I was coming into this relationship with pure love, and that I just wanted to do everything for her in the right way, and I wanted this relationship to work right. But she was completely lacking elements of a relationship that I truly feel are important and that I need in a relationship. And when you find that out, you begin to do a lot of soul searching, because you wonder why she's treating you like this. I didn't know exactly what a narcissist was. I didn't, at least as far as terms go. I've experienced it as a kid, but I didn't put any thought into who it was. I was a kid. I didn't put any thought into what this person is and what a narcissist actually is. But you do some soul searching later on, like when I'm in a relationship with her, and I realized what's going on, and it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And I remember the minute I found out that she was displaying many narcissistic traits, and that I'm an empath, something I always knew deep down. Immediately, I started crying. Immediately, it was like a flood of tears and like a big release, because I realized in that moment a portion of who I am. And she was trying to bury everything that I was and make me into somebody she can just tell what to do, and all that. It's just how if narcissistic people do all kind of things to try to pretend that they love you, but then will stab you in the back in the same moment, But once that light bulb moment clicked for me, I know it fast tracked my spiritual journey to where I'm going right now, as far as self-realization and understanding who you really are. And I had to leave it. I had to leave that relationship, because once you know who you are, once you get an inkling of who you are, you can't go back to what you had previously went through, because imagine you finally realize who you are and the dynamic of this relationship that you've been questioning yourself about and questioning her on, and you just can't go back from that. You can go forward from that, and that's what I chose. And so with that, though, you have to kind of like, I know I'm sure you've ever heard of no contact, where you don't contact a person anymore, because you know how slippery and dangerous of a slope it is to go back into talks with this person, because they can easily try to slime their way and slither their way back into your life if you're not strong enough mentally, if you're not strong enough spiritually. And for a while after I did break up with her, it was tough, because I was wanting to go back to it, as a default pattern. I wanted to go back to the things that I had experienced in my earlier childhood that I was so used to, because the love that she did show, or the false love that she did show, was so powerful and strong. But again, it was just mirroring the greatness of yourself, But yeah, let me know if you ever experienced a narcissistic relationship with anybody. I know a lot of people have it could be either romantic relationships, or it can be within your family, and I've had both. I think that's why I got into this relationship with this person, because I experienced it when I was young and I wasn't healed from it. And thankfully, really, I do mean this, thankfully, I'm so grateful for this experience with her, because I wouldn't be on the type of enlightenment journey that I'm on now. And I wouldn't know myself as I'm beginning to know now. And it was all because of her. But I do, at the same time, I do wish her the best, and I do wish that she heals from all the stuff that she's going through. And I wish I was strong enough in the moment to stick with her and help her heal. But it was asking too much of me at the time, and I wasn't getting back what I wanted from it. And I just wasn't strong enough to, on one hand, deal with her and her trauma and try to help her heal past that. Because I've even brought it up before, when the end was near, I tried my best to salvage the relationship and try to explain to her what's going on. But when you try to explain to her what's going on, and that she's a narcissist, and she shows a lot of narcissistic tendencies, that's like, to her, it was like a bomb went off, because she was like, I've never heard that I was a narcissist before. But again, when she said that kind of even made me like, oh, well, is she really a narcissist? That's how deceiving and cunning people like this can be, because like, maybe she doesn't know she's a narcissist, but it's because she doesn't know who she really is. She's just dealing with things the way she knows how to deal with. She's just dealing with things the way she knows how to deal with them. But yeah, I wish her nothing but the best, and I wish her nothing but growth and healing. Truly mean that. But yeah, that's all for this video, guys. Again, let me know if you've ever come into contact with a narcissist. A lot of people who come into contact with narcissists and survive it are fast-tracked it onto a spiritual journey, like myself, and I'm sure many of you have as well. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Until next time.